Hello everyone, Bernina Jeff here at High Fashion Sewing Machines in Grand Junction, Colorado. Today is our FTCU Floriani Total Control Club, and this is the month of July 2021. So today we're going to make a heart flower. We're going to use some shapes and some tools. Going to use a contour tool. Trevor Conquergood goes over this, so I'm going to go over it step by step and you can follow along. So the first thing you want to do is watch Trevor's video on this. So when you open up your software, usually you get something to this sort about getting to the software club. I'm going to sign in and we are going to go down to, see, there's nothing here to check with. None of these guys really work right. So you're to find the archived webinars, go to blogs and news, come down to Club Weekly Video Archive. Left click on that, and then they're in order by year. So we're going to go into the 2021 club. This is one that Trevor did just recently, and it is not the most current one. It's called Flowers Made from Hearts, or Flower Made from Hearts. So we're going to click on that. And then it's a 14.5-minute video. This is what it looks like on the intro. And I want you to do that out on your own. So you watch the video first, and then it will be easier to follow along with me. So I'm just going to close this part down and get back to my FTCU software. So I've already done a heart flower. So each one of these petals, these 6 petals, are done out of a shape from the custom shapes. And we have used the circle tool, the circle template tool, to arrange them. So I'm going to get a new workspace. This design number 2 I have emptied for us. So the first thing we're going to do is go find a heart. And we're going to go across the top bar here until we get to this green sort of, it's kind of like a green flower or something like that. And when you hover over it, says custom shapes. So I'm going to left click. And then, hopefully that'll open up and come down to the H's, and Heart 004 is what we're going to use. This is what I saved and made earlier, so this is Heart JV. So we're going to even show you how to save one before you go any further with it. So I'm going to double click on that, and that'll open it up. And if you haven't seen any of my videos, to center this, we're going to come over here to the magnifying glass and double click on it, and it will center and make it as large as possible in your workspace. That's one of my favorite tools. There's another way to do that, and you can come up here and hit to fit, and it will do the same thing. To me, I think this is a little quicker, easier. So here's one heart, and we're going to change the shape of this edge right in here. I didn't realize this until Trevor's video, that we can add points and change the shape to these very simply before we turn it in stitches. So I'm going to leave it in a fill mode. See this little box here, it's checked fill. Leave that filled, and we're going to come over here to the 1, 2, 3rd little red arrow down, and it's called shape. And now it puts a pink line with little blue dots around that shape. And if I hover my cursor somewhere close to the line, this little upside down or sideways smile or dumbbell thing comes up, and I'm going to right click. This is not a left click, a right click on that and add a point. So I added a point. Now I'm going to put my cursor on the tip of that point, hold down the mouse button, and then squish it in a little bit, and see how I've made that contour just a little different. I'm going to do the same thing to the other side. I'm going to line up that dot. I'm going to right click, add a point, left click, hold the point down and drag it in, and now I have a pretty symmetrical heart shape there. And I like that. Now if I right click once, nothing really happens. Right click again, nothing happens, and that's good. Now what we want to do is we want to get out of this editing mode and hit our red select arrow, and now we're into duplication, all our other tools here. So see these little 2 pieces of paper down here, dog-eared pieces of paper? That is a duplication. And I'm going to duplicate this heart because we're going to send a smaller heart inside here, combine them so it cuts a hole. So I'm going to duplicate the heart. And so I know which one I'm working with. I'm going to turn this into a red heart just by clicking this color chip down here. You may notice my colors are just kind of a basic range of colors. I built a special thread chart of just basic colors, so I don't have to go scrolling back and forth when I just want to make a contrasting. So if you look into maybe another video, I'll show you how to do that down the road. So this heart is 3.06 inches high. I want to make it 2.1. So I'm going to grab one of these handles and drag it down. And I'm watching on my screen and it's 2.4. Yeah, and it's just a guess. This isn't rocket science. And then I'm going to layer that on top there. Oops, that heart's a little too small. I don't want that much stitches. So I'm going to grab it and then reposition it. Now if I wanted it perfect position in there, I'm going to select all these. I can drag a box around there to select all the items, or I could hit select all items here, or I could hit Control A, whichever works best for you. It's just a matter of what you like the best. So now that these are both selected, I'm going to come up here and find my combine, and it's a little green tool with a paper clip, and my tools run out of space up here, so I have to touch this little extra bar over there and then try to get down and then click combine. And now it's cut the hole in the middle. So that's exactly what I wanted to do. I'm going to click off of that area so you can kind of see. And if you look over here and I open this up, it says all items. All it is artwork, and it's only one artwork now. And that's the way you want it, because if I click on it, now I can drag it around. I don't have to worry about two pieces coming out of center. So that alignment is nice. Everything's cut well, so I like that. Now we would make it to the size we're going to work with. This is 3 inches right now. So I want this about 1 1/4 inches. And I could drag on these handles, but I'm going to go up here to this tab that says transform. I'm going to left click on that. Make sure that maintain aspect ratio is selected and that inches are selected. And I'm going to go 1.25 for inches and hit apply. And now it's into my inch size, or 1 1/4 inches. And that's what I want to work with for this flower. I try to get it in the size I want to work with before I start adding the circle template and that sort of thing. I think software just works better that way. So now that is selected, this circle template tool is activated. If I deselect it, I can't do anything there. So you got to make sure it's selected. And if you get stuck and your cursor doesn't look like mine, make sure you come over here and touch this top select. The software has so many tools, it doesn't know what you're doing just automatically. So you have to tell what tool you want to use. So the select tool is usually your number one to go with. Whenever you're stuck, hit select. And now it's selected. I'm going to go up to this circle template tool and I'm going to left click on it once. And it will default into a kind of a random depending upon how your rulers are set up. Now, this circle dimensions width, we're going to play with that after we get the hearts pointing the way we want. Now, there's how many counts? So make sure your hearts are at 6. 6 seems to work really good. Don't play with this angle where it says objects, and don't play with the offset angle. We're going to come down to design properties, leave the scale at 100%, and then hit this angle. And there's 2 ways. I know that 90 is good, but I'm just going to hold down this up little arrow and hold it down and watch these things turn. And when it gets to a place where I like it, that's at 90, so that's exactly where I wanted it. And that's with the little points sticking out. I did a flower with the points sticking inward, and it's very, very cute also. But I want to get rid of the gap right here. And we can do that. This circle dimension right now is almost 4 inches. If we hold this little down arrow down and let it grow to the middle, after you hold it down for a few seconds, it goes faster. So then when you get close, We've got that there. Now, I've done this with artwork. I probably should have added stitches to it, but let's see if we can add stitches to it. Actually, I'm going to cancel this and do the stitches now, because I want some control over the stitches, and if I add stitches as a group, the stitches may go all different directions. So I jumped ahead. I was so excited to teach you this, so I'm just going to cancel this. We can do this again real easily. So now we're back to the single heart. Now we're going to add stitches to it, and we can do auto satin. That's probably the simplest, and it's going to look just fine for most applications, especially when there's so much going on. And it gives us standard type, pattern type. And if I do a 3D and I do this magnifier and I grab right in here, probably the only thing that's funny is how it overlaps here, and I'm going to be okay with that. But if I wasn't, I'm going to show you how to fix that. We would select it. We go up here to our select tool. I'm turn off 3D. And I'm going to select it. And we're going to go down to this satin tool. The satin tool requires you to make the direction of the satin stitches. It'll sit here waiting for us, and if you just keep hitting enter whenever nothing's happened, what it's wanting you to do is, where is my satin tool? Oh, something is, oh, I've already done the other stitches, so I want to get, I don't know, I'm stuck now. I haven't done it this order before. So like you, I get stuck, so I'm going to delete that just by selecting and hit delete. And now I have my artwork, and now I'm going to do the satin. And now those are the points I'm looking for. It's circled by pink, and it's waiting for us to make inclinations. So I want my stitches to go from here to here, from here to here. You don't have to be right on the line. You can be way out here. It's going to find the nearest point here to here. But I want my stitches to be straight up and down at the points. That one I didn't get in the right point. I'm going to go here to there. There's my inclination. It's being fussy. There we go. And then here to here. And then here to here. And then here to here. Now, if I right click with this off of the area, it'll allow me to change the start and stop. And I want the start and stop to be right here. So there's one button, so there's the start. I'm just going to drag that to the tip there, and the stop to the tip there. It just makes it a little cleaner. Most of our fancy machines, they will cut and trim, and it's no big deal, but this just lets you have that control. Now I'm going to right click again with this cursor off of the area, and there are my stitches. And if I go up here and select the select tool, we have what we want to see. And if I hit 3D, see how these stitches, the points come in real nice and sharp right here. So that's basically exactly what I want. So there's my hearts. I'm going to turn off 3D, and now we can go up here and do the circle template the way we want it. So I'm going to left click on the circle template tool. I showed you different ways, so I'm just going to put a different way in here. I'm going to just type in 90 and hit apply. So that's what I wanted. And now I'm going to hold this down until those hearts just about kiss at the edges. Whoops, too far. And then you just push the up arrow a little bit. But that might be the way you like it. It's totally up to you. Sound like Bob Ross. All right, now that I've got it the way I like it, I'm going to hit OK, and it's going to put it into our workspace in the proper fit. So there is the stitches. The artwork's still left there in the middle, so I'm going to select it and just hit delete. So I don't need that artwork. Oh, what if I wanted it? I want to hit back up. So what if we wanted to save that? I'm going to select it. It's so simple. This software makes you save things that you've built. And this is artwork, so we want to save this as a custom shape. So I'm going to go up to my tools, and we should have save custom shape. And when you click it, it's asking for a name. So I'm going to say heart And I've got heart 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm going to heart, and this is going to be YT for YouTube, and then save. So now that's in my custom shapes until I get rid of it. And it's a little harder process to get rid of it. Now it's selected, I'm going to hit delete. Okay, so we have our circle, our basic flower pattern made out of our hearts. And if we hit it on 3D, it looks pretty sharp. So I like that. I'm going to undo 3D. Now, what Trevor did is he had it selected, and then he used this. I'd never used this tool before today, and that is the contour tool. The contour tool allows you to do contours on the inside, the outside, miter, different options. So I just click on it. So I want to do both inside and outside of the contour, and I want a mitered contour. I only want one ripple, and my spacing is 0.2. 1.2 I think is the default. And we are going to hit OK. Now when this comes in, we got some cleanup to do because the software tried to do some contour on the inside, so I got these little bunny ears on the inside. And so I'm going to show you, oh, I got an itch. I show you how simple it is to clean this up. So we're going to go over to our segments, and I'm going to select this bottom artwork and see what that looks like. Oh, that looks like the bunny ears, so I don't like that. I'm going to remove it just by selecting it and hitting the delete key. All right, and now all I have left is all these other items. So we're going to need to select those items, and there's a lot of ways to select it. I click over here on the segments, and I right click, and I want to break it apart. So I have all those different parts. So now I have artwork and all these parts down here on my segments, or the sequence view. So I'm going to click on the bottom one. That's the one that's the inside one here. I don't want that, so I'm just going to hit the delete key on my, so I'm leaving that outside one there. That's what I want. I'm going to select this next one. That's the outside one. I want to keep him. I'm going to select the bottom one again. So that is right in here. I don't want him. So I'm going to hit delete again. So now I just have a true inside contour and a true outside contour without anything else. But look over here, it's artwork. So this inside contour, I want to do some fill and an outline. So to do that, you have to have two artworks. So select it, select the artwork, come up here and hit copy and paste. And now there's two artworks there. They're exactly on top of each other. You can't see it. So if I take this first artwork and I give it a motif fill, and Trevor used 213, I'm going to use my golf clubs. I built golf clubs the other day, and it's a motif fill, and I'm going to hit that. They're at size 15 millimeter. I'm going to make it size 5. Back. I'm going to make it 6. It's going to look better that way. And hit apply. So there is the center part. Now I want to do a run around that, so I'm going to hit the artwork up here. That's the other artwork. And if I come down here, run, and right click, I can hit backstitch run. So that's going to give us a nice heavy border around that. So that flower is taking shape. So now I want to do this outside artwork. So I'm going to click on him. So this could be a run stitch. You could do a motif, a small little motif run around it. You could do a satin. Let's just do the right click back stitch, just to give it a little quick, easy border there. So let's take a look at this in 3D mode, and it's taking some nice shape there. I like the inside. All right, so now I learned something from Trevor. If I want to keep this in the center and I want to grow some space down here so I can work to put a stem on it. So put your cursor about where if you keep it in the middle and use your roller bar in the middle of your mouse and pull it towards you, it will keep that guy right there in the middle. If you put this guy and hit the roller, it moves it to the side. So what I want to do is I want to make some space at the bottom. So I'm putting my cursor right about there and rolling it toward me, one click. This gives me just the right amount of space to do a stem. And I found the easiest way to do the stem is to come up here to our pencil that has the triangle and a circle and the rectangle. Click on that. I'm going to take a triangle, and it's attached to my cursor, so I'm pointing it at the bottom here. I'm holding my clicker down, and then let's build it about there. And then when you let go, you have the basics of a triangle. We can still modify this, so it's okay. It's just what I wanted to get started with. But now, remember, I have to go up here to the select tool and get rid of that tool, the triangle tool. So I'm going to move this to about where it's supposed to be, and double click on your magnifier and all your parts will appear so you can work on them. So if I wanted to change the shape of this triangle a little bit, I can modify it, making it a little skinnier, a little bit like that, but not a lot until I hit this 1, 2, third arrow down, the shape tool. So we're going to modify the shape while it's still in art form. And we did this earlier, remember, with the heart. So we're going to modify the shape. I'm going to make a little cockeyed on the bottom. I like it like you just cut a flower off. And now I'm going to right click, add a point, and I'm going to make this stem have a little shape to it. And now I'm going to come over to this other one, right click, add a point, and I'm going to make a little shape on the other side. So now my stem has a little bit of character to it. And I'm come over here and hit my select tool. Now we can add a fill to that. Now, depending upon the size of it and how you made it, you can add a ripple fill, you can add a satin fill. Let's try to see if a ripple fill looks any good. And the ripple fill is this new star with like a cycle in the middle of it. And oh man, that looks pretty good just the way it is. So the ripple fill is a single run, stitch length 2.5, density 2. So the density, the bigger number here, the farther apart the stitches are. And gradient, I stayed at none. So that's exactly where I want it. Let's see what it looks like when we take a quick look. So I'm hitting my magnifier and I'm drawing a box around it. That looks pretty cool. I can live with that. Double click on that. But you know, I'm an overachiever. I want some leaves on this. So I got this so far. I'm gonna go up to my shapes, custom shapes, and look under L to see if there's anything that looks like a leaf. And there's leaf 002. So I'm gonna select that. And he is not the right orientation. So what if I just come up here and flip it vertically? That looks pretty good. Now I'm going to make him smaller. I'm just going to use my handles to make this smaller. And maybe a little bigger than that. Whoops. Got off the handle. All right. So you see how this is how the leaf isn't going to match the stem very well. So I could go into my shape tool and change that one dot up there to make that leaf look a little better. Okay, so go back to your regular select tool, and what I'm going to do too also is I'm going to change the stitch order. So I'm going to make this stem stitch last. I'm just going to grab him, pull him down, make him stitch last, and that way it'll cover over where he attaches. See how quick that was? We need another leaf, so I'm going to select him. I'm going to hit this duplicate, and I'm going to grab him over here, and I'm going to flip it right to left. Okay, stick him somewhere. I haven't even added stitches to this yet, and I'm out of order again, so I'm going to take this run and bring him down to the bottom. Now he's covered up the connection point. The other thing I found with these leaves, if you use that, what do they call it again? The ripple fill, it makes a really cool effect on it. I'm going to ripple fill this one also. And I'm just letting the software do the default. And wait till you see what it looks like here. Okay, here we go. See how cool that is? And if I turn off the background, you'll see the stitch option only. And the background's not easy to turn off. I'm going to select it and then hit my delete key, and select it and hit my delete key. It's not the background, it's actually the artwork. But that's pretty cool. Now, if I want to play around with the density on it, if maybe the density is going to look better at 2.5, and hit apply. And it, oops, I was on the wrong stem, so I want to undo that. So I want a leaf. There's my leaf. Let's see what density looks like at 2.5. Hey, even better. And 2.5 on the other one, just like the software says, total control. Now, I'm going to double click on the magnifier so I can see my whole design here. And, you know, I may want to select one of these and turn it a different color, just so the machine will stop when I want it to stop. That's the main thing I use the colors for, is a stop. Because if a design has a color number, that's just a suggestion. I like to be artsy and just add my own color direction. So there you go. We made a flower out of a single heart. We used a contour tool. We used the ripple tool. Just getting familiar with the software. The only way you get good at anything is like when you started driving. You didn't jump in the car without help, so you gotta practice. It takes hours of playing around. I call it productive play. And then when somebody comes and asks you, can you make this for me? They want you to do a little logo, or they want you to do a, something on a towel for them. You can not struggle, and it will work out a lot faster for you. One more bit of cleanup. This stem isn't on the right order, so I'm going to bring the stem down, and now it's in the right order, and it's going to stitch out nicer. So there you go. This is Bernina Jeff at High Fashion Sewing. I have a Shopify account with many of my famous gadgets and my famous oiler for any branded machine, and a special red cap for Bernina 9-hook systems. And please subscribe. The more you subscribe, the more I'll be doing these. So thank you very much, Jeff at High Fashion. If you want to contact us, phone number is 970-256-1293. Thank you.